Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is TheSparrowsJourney and this is my top 10 best games of 2016. It doesn't matter if it is an early access game, it doesn't matter if it is a closed beta, it doesn't matter if it is a DLC or expansion. Disclaimer! This is the top 10 best games of 2016 by TheSparrowsJourney. Notice the last word, TheSparrowsJourney, and as such, it's his list according to his criteria. If you have a different opinion, please do tell in the comment section rather than trashing this list. Thank you. Number 10. Hitman. Hitman was developed by IO Interactive and published by Square Enix. It was released on the 11th of March, at least the first episode. The upcoming episodes are still being released. If there's one thing that disappointed me about this game is the fact that it came out in episodes. And that's one of the things that really made me skip most of this game up until now. This Hitman is a great comeback to the series in a sense that it fixes and introduces new stuff from previous games that kinda lost itself throughout the franchise. I hope I'm not risking too much by putting Hitman on my list without having finished the game, but from what I hear from other people that played already all the episodes, the game is really great. Number 9. Superhot. Superhot has been developed, and I don't know if this is a trolling kind of action, but on Steam they have it as Superhot Team. And the game came out in February 25th. Superhot is one of the big surprises for me in 2016. Nowadays you have RPGs, you have first-person shooters, you have puzzling games, you have point-and-click games. Superhot, although you can put it in a genre first-person shooter, it innovates. It brings something new to the table. It brings something new to gaming itself. And that's one of the things that I value the most in a game. And that's why you see not only Superhot, but other games that will be coming next that are only on my list, not only because they are very decent games, but they introduce something new into gaming. And that's what I love about gaming and games in general. Superhot makes it to my list because it pushes gaming forward more than anything. Number 8. Manuel Samuel. Developed by Perfectly Paranormal and published by Curve Digital. It came out in October the 14th. How brave I am to put games like Manuel Samuel and Hitman together in the same list. As long as I had fun with the game, it doesn't matter. Manuel Samuel, together with some other games that I have in this list, hit me by surprise this year. It's one of those games that I never heard of until like 3 or 4 days before its release. And when I played, I completely fell in love with it. It makes you challenge yourself. It makes you laugh at yourself, and I love that. The story is very short. I didn't play more than 4 hours, but it's one where I had a lot of fun this year, and it had to end up on my list. Number 7. Rings. Rings was made by Nereal, and it was published by Devolver Digital on the 11th August of this year. I would be far from imagining that I would ever put a mobile game on my top 10 best games of 2016. Rings was first introduced to me as a PC game, not as a mobile game. Rings is a, I would say, card game. It's a decisioning game where you'll play over and over and over again because you are trying to achieve a certain challenge, but you can only do so in batches. You have a couple of years to survive with one character, trying to pick the best way to reach your goal. But if you don't, it's fine, because you can restart all over again and try it with another character. That's what makes it so fun for me. You can keep playing again and again and again, and you will always have a different experience. Obviously, after a while, it ends up being the same thing for every single character. But until that happens, to a certain extent, you don't have repetition. Number 6. Inside. Inside is made by Playdead and published by Playdead as well, and it came out on the 7th of July. Inside leaves you at the end questioning yourself, questioning the meaning of life, questioning what the hell did you just play. Inside is a game that I would recommend to people that want to go through an experience like no other in gaming. It's another game, just like Superhot, that pushes gaming forward. Number 5. Overwatch. Overwatch is made by Blizzard. The official release date was on the 23rd of May. Overwatch is a game that I both hate and love. Let me explain why. I love it because it's a game very easy to get into. It's a game with very high production values as any other Blizzard game out there. It's a game that made me want to play it more and more and more. It's a game that challenged me. It's a game that makes me have fun with my other friends, with people all over the world. But I hate it because of how much I got addicted to it. Sometimes it makes it feel unfair for you as someone who wants to progress through the game, but you can't because you need to rely on others in order to climb up the leaderboards and having the recognition you want and probably deserve in the end. As with any other Blizzard game, it's not hugely original. I would say it's the same case as World of Warcraft. Never did anything new before its time. It just did it much better than any other game before. Number 4, Shadow Warrior 2, developed by Flying Wild Hog and published by Devolver Digital, and it came out in the 13th of October. I didn't play Shadow Warrior 1, and some people tell me that once after playing Shadow Warrior 1, they were disappointed by Shadow Warrior 2 because of how it changed. I am not a victim of that stigma because I never played Shadow Warrior 1, so Shadow Warrior 2 for me was great fun. It's one of those games that you either hate or love, I suppose, because the story, you don't play it for the story. The most important thing in a game, I guess for me, is the gameplay and how it feels when you play it. And as a first-person shooter, Shadow Warrior 2 feels great, and it has a huge replay value on my book. Lo Wang, as the main character of the game, has this very specific kind of humor, childish humor even. The art style is amazing, and it really never got boring after a while because of its capacity to change the visuals so drastically. Sometimes you were playing in the forest, sometimes you were playing in the city. What's boring about destroying monsters over and over again with a bloody chainsaw? Number 3, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Blood and Wine DLC, or expansion if you want to call it that. It's made and published by CD Projekt Red, and it came out in the 30th of May. I love the way CD Projekt Red does things. I love the way Witcher grew as a game from its very first installment in the franchise. And finishing with The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Blood and Wine was the perfect way to finish a franchise that, for now at least, will not have any sequels. Blood and Wine is an expansion that has more content in it than certain games released every single day on Steam. This DLC is not a way to fix The Witcher 3. This DLC is not content that should have come with The Witcher 3 The Wild Hunt, the original game. No, it adds to the original game. It's not something that they had planned but they scrapped from the original game just to have an excuse to charge for more money. It's not like that. Blood and Wine happens in a completely different scenario from the previous games. It is a colorful place. There's really no other way for me to explain how this game is really good other than advise you to play it yourself. The storytelling is absolutely brilliant and there's so much to do. Number 2, Civilization 6. It is made by Firefaxes and published by 2K Games. It was released in October 20. Civilization 6 is, for me personally, a great comeback to the series. After the previous installments, which were not that great, it truly made me feel like I was playing Civilization again. It was a great launch, which is something that Firefaxes have been screwing up. The game looks great. A lot of people were complaining how it looked. Civilization was never really aiming to look realistic. There are certain things, of course, that should have been better, that could have been better in the game. I cannot wait for future DLCs with a couple more countries to play with. Hopefully Portugal. That was probably one of the most disappointing things in the game, is that it didn't have Portugal as a country, as a civilization to play with. So hopefully we will see that in the future. More civilizations, more technologies, more of what they came out with on release, which was already a pretty great product. Number 1. I know. Give me a few minutes to explain first. Gwent is currently in closed beta, but as I've said in my criteria, I would consider games, even if they were not finished yet, as long as I had a good amount of hours into it and as long as I had fun with it. Gwent is made by CD Projekt Red and it's currently in closed beta with the release planned for the first quarter of 2017 as an open beta. Witcher is a universe and a game that I enjoy a lot. Gwent is a card game about the same universe. I tried it and I liked it, and even though I'm not a hardcore fan of card games, I end up enjoying Gwent a lot. I know people will talk about this. It's not the same thing as Hearthstone. Hearthstone and Gwent can live together side by side for different kinds of audiences. It's a game that I already spent a lot of hours in 2016, and that's why I'm considering it for this list. Considering the fact that I had a lot of fun with it, it had to be on this list as number 1. It kind of proves how greatly I'm enjoying it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my top 10 best games list of 2016. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have a different opinion, I want to hear it. I want to know what are your favorite games of 2016. I want to mention a couple games that were great to me in 2016. Abzu, a diving simulator which had an amazing visual. It was an amazing experience for me. Oxenfree, which is another indie game. You have seen a lot of indie games on this list. Goner. Goner is a roguelike kind of platformer. Battlegrounds. I have to say one thing about this game. It just didn't make it to the top 10 because I'm saving it for my 2017 top 10 best games. Day of the Tentacle Remastered. It's a game that I enjoyed already in my past. Most of its, I guess, condition already existed. It was improved in some ways. So I don't feel it would be, again, fair to put it on my top 10 list. Firewatch. Firewatch is another game just like Abzu that I normally call experience rather than a game in itself. This was my top 10 best games of 2016 list, ladies and gentlemen, by TheSparrowsJourney. That is me. If you have your own list, let me know on the comment section and I will eventually check it out. There are a lot of games out there that would probably make it to this list, but I just didn't have the time to play them. So for that reason, they are not here, but they surely probably are on other people's list. Ladies and gentlemen, have a good day. I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.